Is there any better worktop than a laminated hardwood maple, an inch and 3/4 thick? I don't think so. Warm to the touch, it won't scratch your material. Kind of a fun fact, the U.S. military armors, they work on laminated maple tables as well. One of the reasons why I spent a little extra money on a BOOS block instead of something that was made, a lot of these things are made overseas and not great quality, is I'm trying where I can to buy American products. Now, it's not always possible, right? Our LED lighting, for example, yesterday, of course, that's not made in America, but there's not an option, right? So when there's an option, I try to make it happen. Interesting history of this company. The first time I saw a BOOS block, of course, it was the Fresh Pea. You know, she always has the nicest things and does a lot of research on how she really buys quality. And I saw hers and I bought Mrs. W one for our kitchen. You may have seen it in previous videos. So when I was thinking about my dream bench, what I wanted to have, and I thought, how cool would it be to have a BOOS block countertop? So when I found one and ordered it, I did a little research on the company, and I was really interested to find out that the BOOS company invented the first butcher block. Clive, I wrote it down. Conrad, I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. Conrad BOOS was a blacksmith, and he laminated the first butcher block. It was actually made out of sycamore for himself. He put 3 legs on it. He wanted a big, heavy block of wood that could withstand the pounding of a hammer. I don't know, he wanted maybe something softer other than an anvil for a special application, I don't know. But he was using this in his shop, and the local butcher came over and saw this butcher block and asked him if he would make one for him, and he started using it in his meat shop, and well, that history, that's how the company started. That was 130 years ago. Conrad's son started producing them and selling them, and they've been producing them in Illinois ever since. So great company, great history. I had one person mention in the comments yesterday that they had never seen a BOOS block that wasn't split. Well, these need to be maintained. You know, this wood is not like steel or plastic. It's actually a living thing that has oils in it. It needs to be reconditioned. And if you have one, a BOOS block or any sort of a block, butcher block countertops in your kitchen, you're constantly wiping them down with water. Well, every time you wipe them down, you strip some of the oil out of them. So they need to be maintained with the proper oil. We use a mineral oil on ours, and if you do that and take care of it, then you won't have that problem. First thing we're going to do is we'll cut the 2 ledgers for the side. Now the BOOS block is 24 inches deep. I don't want that to run all the way to the edge. I want it to be back a little bit so it's hidden in the shadow so you don't see it. So the bench looks like it's basically just floating in between the 2 cabinets. So we're going to come back 2 inches, so we'll come to 22. Now the ultimate counter height that I decided on was 36 inches finished. That's what seems comfortable to me with my 25-cent bar stool there. Getting your workbench level from front to back is critical because you don't want to fight it the rest of your life. Whenever you put something round on there like a socket, it rolling on the ground it just wears you out. So if anything, have it go a little bit to the inside. So if something does move, at least it goes to the inside and not on the floor. All right, that's our first cleat on, perfectly level. I'm only going to put 2 bolts on there because when I looked on the inside of this, the cage there, there's a double reinforced, it's double thick to hold those, support those louvers on those heavy shelves. So it almost acts like a steel leg on here. So I put one right in the center here and one over there, and that will transfer that weight down. So that'd be plenty strong. These are the screws that we'll use from the bottom. We'll need 6 of these. These are GRKs. GRKs are probably some of my favorite screws. They are really high quality. They have a nice coating on them. They actually look really nice too if you have to leave them exposed. When I installed the cabinets at the last house, when I screwed the cabinets together, I used these and they look nice and clean. They almost have kind of a built-in washer to them. Boy, that maple is hard. Let's see how we did for level. Hard to beat that. I've been stewing about this vise placement. You know, it's not ideal to have a vise right next to a wall like this, right? Because it really limits you where you can get to it. But this is not the vise for that, right? This is what we have. This is going to be more for dealing with stuff working. I like to work to the right. So what I thought, since we have a 6-foot bench, what I thought here is I'm going to put this vise so that if I had something that was 5 feet long, it wouldn't interfere. I could have a full, smooth leading edge right here. I don't know why. I just thought, you know, things come in 1-foot increments in the States, so that'd be pretty common. All right, guys, here's what I settled on for right or for wrong. I realized that there might be times where a guy wants to work directly over top the vise, like right in the center, maybe doing some detail work. And if I had it over here another 6 inches, I didn't have room to work over it that way. I would have been bumping into the cabinet. So I went to 5 foot to the center line of the screw. Now if I need to work directly right over top of the vise, I can comfortably, this is my comfortable position right here. I'm not, the cabinet's not in the way of my knee. Don't forget, when you're mounting your vise, when you're thinking of that depth, make sure you take something, clamp it in the jaws, and make sure that there's no conflict with the bench, right? Because you want to have something long that runs clear down to the floor that you want to grip. You don't want this vise so far back that it hits the table. Here the vise is in conflict with the drill. It's not going to drill a straight hole. So you can just remove the vise from the base. That looks good, nice clean hole. Now to mount this down, I'm going to be using grade 5 1/2-inch bolts by 3.5 in length. We can put this in here. I like to, these drill bits will wander a little bit, so if you can put your bolt in before you tighten it, cinch it down a little bit before you drill your next hole, it seems to hold that base from walking just a little bit. It does seem to help. Well, what do you think, guys? That turned out nice. Not too shabby for a $300 eBay vise, huh? That was an amazing find. So how much do I have into the whole thing? Okay, we can add it up roughly. So we've got 300 bucks with the shipping and everything. It's like 350 for the vise, somewhere around there. About 300 bucks for the BOOS tabletop. I got that on Amazon. I've got, let's say, 150 in steel, including the big heavy 42-pound anvil over there. So we got, what, 650, 750, 8, another 50 for hardware. So about $900 or so. That includes steel, the vise, the bolts, hardware, and a full BOOS butcher block countertop. Pretty good, huh? I mean, that's I think that's more than fair. So just to give you a little idea, in case it wasn't clear before, this post is going to be what's mounted underneath this vise. That's why those bolts are sticking down there a little bit too far, and we can trim those as need be, but we got to remember we've got a 1/4-inch steel plate that's going to go under there too. That's going to take up some, so we'll trim them off if we have to. So next up, I'll pick up, this is a 2-inch by 2-inch, 1/4-inch thick. This is a 5x5 plate. I wanted to go with kind of a smaller plate because I didn't want a huge thing on the ground, you know, kicking around and stuff. So we'll drill 4 holes in that, and that will bolt into the floor with the 1/2-inch concrete anchors. And then I've got a 8x8 plate that will go on the top. That's how big it had to be to pick up all 4 of those bolts, and those bolts will go through there. So when this is all said and done, we'll basically have just that one tube directly straight under the bottom of the vise, really tying it together, making it really strong. So I'm not going to abuse this vise. If I need to go and really beat on one, I'll use a snap-on over there. But still, if we want to use it for the anvil and we want to have a really solid surface, like for punching in pins and such, we'll have a rock solid mount there. And if you need to really refond it a little bit, it's not going to move. It's not going to tear the table off the wall. So that's the idea anyway. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up, we always appreciate that. Commenting is also appreciated. Keep us in your prayers. May God bless you and your families, and we'll see you guys on the next video.
I am master of my own house, inside and out, but she's the queen of the castle, she the hat, I the tassel. She makes me more than I am, like the cream to be churned, like a duck at the circus, just beginning.